First and foremost, I would like to thank you, Lord, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story. And thank you for coming. My name is J.H., and I am from Myanmar. Myanmar is a small country, and it's located in Southeast Asia. I was born and raised in a small village. I come from a family of 11, and I am the oldest one. When I lived in my village, there was no electricity, no car, and no store. If we wanted to buy something, we had to go to a small town, which took 3 days. We walked and carried everything. Naturally, my country, Myanmar, is rich and beautiful. We have a lot of natural resources, such as gas, diamonds, and gold. Unfortunately, since we became independent from Britain in 1948, our country has been through a military coup 3 times in the past 70 years. Under the military dictatorship, life was difficult. I started working when I was 8 years old. My parents could not afford to pay my school fees. When I was 14, I went to India and worked to pay my school fees. We carried the wood to build houses. We worked 12 hours per day, and we were so tired. During this time, I got very dehydrated and was urinating blood. I was sick for 2 months and spent all the money I earned on medicine. My dad is my hero and best teacher. He was a leader of 5 villages. The Myanmar military asked for whatever they wanted, and they would cause trouble for us if we could not give it to them. Being a leader was extremely dangerous under a dictatorship. There was not only the Myanmar military but also the Revolutionary Army. Burmese military accused my dad was supporting the Revolution Army. The Revolutionary Army also accused my dad was a spy for Myanmar's military. It was so dangerous, and they could trouble my dad any time. In my language, we call it Sayalonata Chakilika, which means between hammer and tongs. One day, the Revolution Army called and beat my dad so hard, and it was bleeding. He could not even sit down on a chair. 2 days later, the Myanmar military came to my home and arrested my dad. They took the capital of Chin State, Hakka, which is the biggest prison in Chin State. They were tortured and sentenced to 5 years. Luckily, they released my dad 2 months later. I asked my dad, "Why don't you quit your job?" My dad told me, "As a leader, you should have 7 skins and stand up for your people and fight for your people." We had a lot of visitors from my dad's co-workers or even the military or Revolution Army. When my parents were not home, I had to take care of them. I killed the chickens and cooked for them if I thought they were VIPs. As the first kid, I had to make many decisions at a young age. Hardship gave me experience, and I became a leader in a youth organization when I was 15. One day, the Revolution Army asked every village to provide a man and woman to train to become medics. My dad could not find people to get medical training because of the danger. If the Myanmar military found out, they would arrest or even kill us. One day, I got my backpack to go to school, and my dad asked me, "My son, could you do me a favor?" I could not find people to attend medical training. "Could you please help me?" It was so difficult to say yes because of my school. But a few minutes later, I said, "Yes, Dad, I will go there." My dad was so happy. To make a long story short, I got medical training and worked in our area for 5 years. One day, the military found out that we got medical training from the Revolution Army, and they tried to arrest us. My parents advised me to flee to another country, a safe place, but it was not easy to leave my people as a health worker. Finally, I fled to Malaysia illegally. The journey took 21 days of walking through the jungle. Sometimes we had to go at night. When we crossed the Thailand border by boat at night, Thailand's Coast Guard found out and arrested us. It was so scary. They pointed at us guns and said, "Don't move." I thought it was my last day because we knew that they used to kill some people or sell to fishermen or pirates. They detained and jailed us for 3 days. And then they sent us back to the Myanmar border. We came back a second time, and the agents hid us under the bus to smuggle us into Malaysia. Sometimes, they hid 3 people behind a small car in the trunk. It was so hard, and some people died on the way. Finally, we got to Malaysia. Living in Malaysia illegally was very difficult. We were not allowed to work, but we had to work for survival. When we met the police, they would arrest us and ask for money. I lived in Malaysia for 2 years and 4 months, and finally, I had a chance to move to the United States. I have been here in the United States for 11 years, but it feels like yesterday. Those 2 years and 4 months I lived in Malaysia felt like 10 years. Living in America is like paradise because we have freedom. One night, I dreamt that I went back to my country. I was so sad. Why did I come back here? And I woke up. Oh, my God, I was so happy it was only a dream. When I came to the United States, I was 25 years old. It was not easy to go back to school after a long time of not studying. I started ESL Level 1, and finally, I got my GED. That day, I was so happy and greeted everyone, even strangers. I said, "Oh man, I got my GED today," and someone said, "Congratulations," and someone looked at me like this guy was crazy. Now, I am studying business administration at ASU. In 2019, I became a U.S. citizen. Also, in 2019, I went to my country to get married. My wife's name is JL. After we married, the COVID epidemic came, and we had the military coup on February 1, 2021. The process was slow and took 2.5 years. Finally, my wife got here last year. After the military coup, my remaining family fled to India and Malaysia. They are not allowed to work in those countries, and we need to provide for both me and my wife's families. My wife works 56 hours per week, and I work 70 hours per week. We both provide our families with 50% of our income. Not only our families but also those who are suffering from civil war as much as we can. Even though we work many hours, we still struggle to provide for our families. Since the military coup, the Myanmar military has killed more than 6,000 people, detained 17,000 and burned 2,500 villages and towns. The people of Myanmar are suffering. Please help us in whatever you can. What are your layers? How do you protect yourself in difficult times? Thank you.